So UFC 239, you're facing Ben Askren, and where you been? There's a lot of people who are wondering if you haven't showed up to these promotional events. Why has George been so quiet leading up to this fight? Why is that?
George is always quiet leading up to the fights. I don't really care too much to do a lot of talking, especially like going the back and forth with an idiot like Ben. If he was like comical or funny or witty, it'd be different, you know, but he just says a lot of crap and hopes that something sticks on the wall. I mean, I just saw him right now, and I dress him like a man, and he gets all nervous, and he can't spur of the moment start talking. You know, I'm sure he's going to go home, think about something to say on some posts, and then repost it. But when we're right here live in the flesh, nothing to say, you know, and I can't be talking to a dude like that. You know, I have trouble talking to a girlfriend of mine all the time on text, especially on like social media. So if that's what you mean by like disappearing, I'm not. The back and forth stuff is a little too corny for me, man.
It's funny that you say that you don't think he's witty or funny, because most people do think he's witty or funny. Why doesn't his sense of humor do it for you?
I don't know. He's just dismissive. He's like a watered down, weak version of Dominic Cruz. He just tries to be like dismissive, and I don't know. And his pompous attitude, it just doesn't. It doesn't make me laugh, you know. Even if we were in different weight classes and we weren't going to compete, it's not somebody that I tune in to see what he's saying, you know. Not that you have to be the funniest dude on the planet, but I mean, he doesn't like do anything for me, you know.
So you saw him just outside. Did you have anything you wanted to say to him, or did you just want to get a look at him or see how he reacted? Why did you approach him just now?
Because he talks a lot of crap, you know, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, I didn't grow up with this social media stuff or all these phones. I grew up like this, you know, like you have something to say it now. And he didn't have much to say now. He's actually giving me compliments. It's so weird, you know, and he was like nervous, I could tell, because he was stiff as a board like a deer in lights, because I just popped up on him. I had seen him, he hadn't seen me, so when I popped up on him, and he did a little freezing there. I'm sure that he had some videographer following him. I'm sure that won't make the cut, you know, his little freezing up on the lights.
What did he compliment you on? The shirt, I'm going to guess. Maybe the hair?
No, he said, you're pretty tough, I heard.
Oh.
What? What do you... What, man? Don't worry about that, man. You'll find out Saturday if I am or not.
Well, one of the comments that you made on another podcast was that you wanted to end his bloodline, and
not his bloodline. I said I wanted to take him out of the reproduction system, you know, so he can't reproduce no more. We don't need no more Ben Askrens in this world.
Okay.
Not his bloodline. Whatever he's done already, I don't mess with nobody's kids, man. I wouldn't dare. But I'll just take him out for future events. We don't need no more people like him on this planet.
Okay. Well, that sounds personal. Is this a personal fight for you? Do you coming in feeling personal animosity that maybe you don't feel in other fights?
It's not personal to me. It's always business. But I'm happy I get to bust this guy in the face and get paid for it. A little bit happier than most times, I can tell you that much. A lot happier than most times, you know?
Have you, I mean, you've had a long career. Have you ever experienced anything similar to this, just in terms of the trolling, in terms of the guy flew to London to kind of call you or Darren Till out?
Well, because he's a groupie. Who does that? You know, who goes to go see another dude? You know, we're both two dudes. You flew across the pond to go watch me compete, front row, and then like, hey, George, look at me. You're kind of a groupie. You're not really a contender, you know?
Did you want this fight with Ben?
I could have cared less, you know, if it was this fight or whoever it was. I just want the toughest fights out. I don't think he was the toughest fight out, but the UFC was like, you kick this guy's ass, you're fighting for the title. Well, let's kick this guy's ass. No brainer.
So that's a guarantee in your mind that you win this fight?
Sir, yes, sir.
How does that, and I was going to bring this up a little bit later in the conversation, but since it's relevant now, how does that line up with, you know, your friend, Colby Covington, taking a fight against Robbie Lawler? Are you guys kind of competing against one another in a sense to get the next title shot?
Oh, well, once we've both been at the top 10, we're competing against each other, directly or indirectly. And like I've said in many interviews, when it comes to that belt, I don't have no friends or nothing. I only have me and my family and my kids. That's it. I'm going to get as much money as possible. Do I want to punch Colby in the face? No, that's not somebody I'm looking forward to punching him in the face, you know, or kneeing him or anything like that. There's 1,000 other guys I'd much rather decapitate than him. You know, so in that standpoint, it sucks. But, man, we're professionals, right? Football players that were teammates before, they go to different teams, or basketball players, when Wayne and LeBron split up, they didn't stop playing against each other. It's what we signed up for. We both know it, you know, so there's no, at least on my side, there's no animosity, there's no hard feelings. We're going to get it done, you know?
Were you guys able to work together for these camps? Because I look at the situations, and I think he would help you getting prepared for Ben Askren. You would help him getting prepared for Robbie. So are you guys still training together?
We definitely have very good styles to help each other, but it's kind of better that we already separate each other, because we're so right there within the rankings that we haven't been putting in the training time that we used to when we were both coming up.
What do you make of Ben as a fighter? I mean, for a long time, that was a question out there, that how good is this guy, because he wasn't fighting in the UFC, and now he's had that one fight in the UFC, and the way to which it went, seems like that question's still out there. Just how good is he? I mean, what is your take on it?
I don't got nothing nice to say, so I'm not going to say anything really, but I don't have nothing nice to say, Just Saturday, my thoughts, my creations, my everything of how I think of this individual will come to light on Saturday.
Is this as simple as, because I think a lot of people are looking at it this way, if Ben is able to take George down, then Ben wins. And if he can't, then Ben loses. Then George wins. Is it as simple as that in your mind?
I think a little bit more complicated than that. I mean, Maya had my back for numerous minutes, couldn't choke me out, couldn't do anything, and I don't consider Ben to have the submission ability that Maya has. He might be a better scrambler, better gas tank, better wrestler, but he doesn't have the jiu-jitsu awareness that Maya has. So the fight going to the ground doesn't mean it ends. It just means I have to get back up to my feet and continue to keep it in my realm.
Mm-hmm. He's brought up something that when he was getting done with his wrestling career and he was thinking about getting into mixed martial arts, in 2008, he went down to American Top Team. And he didn't know anything about fighting, but he was obviously an accomplished wrestler. And then he said you two went at it. You got on the mats together. Yeah. And he says that he schooled you. Those are his words. And I've been wanting to ask you about that. Do you have any recollection of what happened in 2008 when you two met?
I definitely got recollection of it, but I mean, it's such a home move that to talk about training, because I'm at American Top Team. 100 guys have passed through there that are good, that we have in sparring tapes, me KOing them or stopping them or whatever it is. I don't talk about my sparring sessions. Most don't. That's the type of person that he is. But I'll tell you this much. He didn't school me. And to talk right now is just he say, she say stuff. It's just him spreading rumors or me spreading rumors. Saturday, we're going to find out. And after Saturday, I'll tell the world what happened, because I walked away feeling great, Mm-hmm. I walked away. I knew who he was, not because of anything more, that one of my coaches that was there at the time, Ricardo Laborio and Cami Bergini were there at the time, and they told me, like, hey, man, he's a pretty good wrestler. Make sure you're aware. Mm-hmm. We started on the feet, MMA style, and I'll tell you this much. He never took me down. I wasn't able to control him, but I did get takedowns on him. He out-scrambled me to neutral, and then I got another takedown on him where he scrambled and got on top of me and stayed on top of me for a little bit, for like a good minute and a half. My coaches were like, man, you did pretty good. We didn't think you were going to do that well against him. As you could tell, Ben has no athleticism whatsoever. All he could do is pray that it gets into like a sticky situation where his experience in mat wrestling comes out. Mm-hmm. Is he a better mat wrestler than me? For a fact. And did he beat me when I was at 155 pounds? And he was coming fresh off the Olympics in a wrestling setting? Maybe. Mm-hmm. But what does that say, though? Mm-hmm. I'm 170 pounds now, 10 years later, and we're not in a grappling match. We're not in a wrestling match. We're actually in a fight, buddy. Mm-hmm. And he's going to fight somebody that wants to break his face, He's never seen nothing like me in his life, I truly want to hurt him just like I want to hurt everybody that I compete against, and set myself apart as to where he just wants to put his face in my crotch, and just, he'll be content with that. If his face is in my crotch, he'll be happy. I'm going to hurt this guy, and whatever happened in 2008 happened, but we'll see what will really happen come July 6th.
George, I know that you dabble in gambling from time to time.
Yeah.
And I also know that if you look at your resume and you look at Ben's, yours is more impressive. Now we could talk about some of the opportunities Ben has or hasn't gotten, but your resume is more impressive than his, I would say, at this point. Vegas has Ben as a 2-1 favorite. Do you have awesome. Any reaction to that?
I could care less. I think they had something like that too for the Till fight. Mm-hmm. You saw how much that hurt my feelings, Mm-hmm. So I don't really care about those things, When I first had my first amateur fight, I don't think nobody was really there cheering for me. When I had my first pro fight, was nobody betting on me. I'm here now, 16 years later, amongst the world's best constantly. When I look around the mat at ATT, I'm one of the only guys from my generation that's still there with all these young guys, and that's such a testament to my abilities, my dogness, my durability, Ben doesn't know what this is like, man, until he gets in there with me, but he's going to find out.
I almost hesitate to ask the question this way, because it's like one of those questions you guys get all the time, like how important is this fight, or is there extra pressure on this fight? But the reason I'll ask it is because of the situation that you're in. You gained so much momentum from going out there and knocking out Darren Till, which it was well-deserved. I mean, for you to fly across the ocean and beat that guy in London in the way that you did, if you win this fight, like you said, you're headed for a title shot. If you lose, then you look at your resume and your record, and you've lost 3 of your last 4 at that point. So it seems like you could go in one of 2 directions big time. I mean, do you feel that going into a fight like this?
I feel it every fight. Every fight is important. This fight, similar to when I was in fighting Damian Maia, but I was on a 4-fight win streak there, I think, at the time. So winning that fight, I would have fought for the title. I didn't. I lost a split decision. Whatever, I learned from my mistakes, you know. I won't make those mistakes on Saturday. I'm prepared, man. Every fight is the most important fight because it got me to this fight right now, you know.
Last question, name the last guy that you fought that you disliked as much as you dislike Ben.
I don't know. I'd have to do too much brain power that I'm not willing to search through right now.
So it's rare, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's definitely up there, and it's just him as a person, you know. The things that he does, like he's constantly attacking champions or guys that I think I'm like, man, this guy's a stud fighter, a good fighter. He's done so much for the sport, and yet here comes Ben that only wants to put his face in somebody's crotch. And he's talking about these guys that actually go out there and compete and separate themselves by finishing fights, by ending guys, putting themselves in harm's way to finish a fight, you know. And he just wants to diss everybody and everything because he thinks it's cool. And I don't know, I don't get it, man. But it's the times that we live in now to where if you talk more and throw less, it almost benefits you, you know. So whatever. Then you get a guy like me that wants to hurt you, and I could care less about the medias and all this. You know, I saw him take to the internet saying that I was scared of him to go to the media days. What would have happened if I went to these media days? Were him and his mom of the mob of what do they call it? Dad bod mob gonna come after me or something? Is Ben gonna do anything to me in this realm or the next? They could physically hurt me. Best case scenario, he puts his face in my crotch for 15 minutes. But was I hurt from that or anything like that? So how could I ever be scared of this guy? But he puts that stuff out there. People believe it and they run with it, so it's crazy the times that we live in nowadays, you know. So I get weirded out, man. That's why, referring to your question in the beginning, where have I been? Been doing my own shit, man. I'm not part of this world or this circus thing. I just like to fight. That's it, man.
Yeah. 3-piece Minnesota making an appearance on Saturday.
Yeah, and hopefully it's just to the cage, you know. Hopefully nobody gets slick.
Keep it in the cage this time.
Yeah, hopefully nobody gets slick while I'm doing interviews or try to intimidate me or nothing like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye out when we talk to you post-fight. But until then, best of luck
sir.
on Saturday,
Thank you
George.
guys, man. Always a pleasure to
Appreciate
be here,
the time.
Thank you guys, man.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and special content, subscribe to ESPN+.